Hello, my friend, and welcome back. Today, I feel inspired to talk about divine timing. And because I think that timing can mean I mean it, talking about divine timing in a few different ways. We can talk about it first in a way of us having, we've discussed before about us having a very limited view and us not being able to see the whole picture, the big picture. And that is why things can feel like they are not in the right timing, or something might be happening too fast, or something might be happening too slow, or whatever it is. But what we have to understand is we do not have that aerial view. We do not see the full picture. We are part of something that is much, much larger. And if you think about it in that way and think about all of the different moving parts that kind of have to come together in order for certain things to happen, you can put a little bit of perspective on timing. And the other thing is our ego gets in the way and says that things should be happening in a certain timeline or a certain time frame, but we have to understand that that is coming from our ego. That is not necessarily coming straight from the divine. If you are ever feeling impatient or like something should be happening faster or now or slower or anything other than how it is exactly unfolding, you can be pretty certain that that is your ego speaking. That is your ego saying, well, it should have happened by now, or, whoa, this is happening too fast, or this is not happening at a great time for you. And yes, you always want to be using your discernment, because sometimes the timing is bad. And if your discernment is telling you that something is happening and it is not the right time for you, then it is, yes, you should be listening to your gut. However, if you are just feeling like something is maybe being like whipped at you and you're like, I don't know about this, but I want to go, my head is saying that the timing is wrong, but my heart is saying that the timing is right. You definitely want to listen to that and to go with the flow at that point, and the flow being the flow of life. The other thing about divine timing is that time is a human construct. So time is just something that we basically use to make sense of this world. It allows us to put things in order and having time in a sense of a linear timeline helps us to kind of keeps us from going into chaos. Because of the way our world functions, we need to function in a timeline. However, let me say this, I think that it is time to it is time to rethink a lot of those constructs. We need to really rethink and really reevaluate where those beliefs are coming from, because we are born into a belief system of time, and that things should happen in certain timelines, and there are reasons for this, there are biological reasons for this, there are this reason or that reason, or whatever the reason is. We need to question that. We need to question, is this true? Is this right? Is this true for me right now? I am being told that for my timeline, that this is about where my life should be, and I should be doing this or that. And you need to really reevaluate, is that true for me? Is that coming from a belief? Am I buying into the belief of this human construct time system? What if I were to change that belief? What if I were to believe something different? What if I were to let go of those time constructs? What would happen? What if I, because let's take death for an example. There's that saying, there's only two things guaranteed in life, death and taxes. What if death existed because we believe it existed? What if we were to believe that these bodies had an expiration date and it was just purely a belief that your time will run out, that you have limited time here on this earth? Life is short. What if it wasn't? What if we all released that belief? Would we live forever? Would these bodies not expire? Would they take much longer to expire? I don't know. Maybe. So these are the questions we need to start asking. And these are the evaluations that we need to continue to make in life. And we need to take a hard look at things, because I think that something is happening. If you are in the spiritual community, I'm sure that you have heard of words like the Great Reset, the New Earth, 5D, ushering 5D. I'm sure that you've heard a lot of these things. And even in my own personal belief system, I believe that we are in the apocalypse. But I don't necessarily think, apparently apocalypse, the root of the word, means a new beginning. It doesn't mean an ending. And we have just put that meaning onto the word apocalypse. When you think of the word apocalypse or apocalyptic movie or something, it is about the ending. It is about the breaking down. But if you notice, in a lot of apocalyptic movies, at the very end, there seems to be that glimmer of hope, that sunshine after the storm. And that is truly what apocalypse means. It is that sunshine after the storm. It is how clear and fresh is. It is that brand new, fresh start. But in order for that fresh start to happen, the breakdown of the old needs to happen. And when you look at things in a linear time frame, what would make sense for us is that the breakdown happens and then the new beginning starts. Well, what if that were just a belief? Because time doesn't exist to the divine. Time only exists to humans. So, what if the thought of having to have one thing happen and then the next thing happen, what if that were just to be a pure belief? What if it could happen simultaneously? Because in theory, everything is happening simultaneously. If you take away the thought of time being something linear, and you were to more think about it as maybe like a ball, time is a ball, and this whole timeline is wrapped up in here. So why wouldn't, if it was a big ball, why wouldn't you be able, and this includes, I guess, time travel, go to different spots without having to travel through time to get to different eras or different moments in time? What if they could be happening simultaneously? And so what if, and I saw a really interesting picture the other day, and it was a fork in the road, and it was on one fork led to the Great Reset and the other fork led to the New Earth. But what I really liked about it is because it wasn't the Great Reset and then the New Earth. It was choosing one or the other. And I had a very strong vision and feeling the other day, and this was before I saw this. I felt like I was at truly a fork in my life, like I am at a fork in my life, and I really need to be choosing the path that I want to go on. And one path was more clear than the other. Got cut off. I don't know why we get cut off sometimes, but we do. But anyways, so I was saying that just because one path was more clear than the other, it didn't give me the feeling that that was the path I was supposed to take. It was just maybe a more predictable path, more of a path that I could not see myself on in the way it was right, but just predictable, like I could maybe see what was going to happen. But the other path was not exactly clear. It felt more unknown. And it wasn't one path was better than the other, or I just felt like, or one path was good and one path was bad. It was just more like I knew I could thrive on either path, but I just have the feeling that I am going to have to choose soon. And I don't know what that means, and I don't know what I'm choosing or where I'm going or what's exactly going to happen. But it was interesting that I had that very clear feeling of choosing a fork in the path. And then yesterday I saw that picture with the fork in the path. And the interesting thing that I think about the fork in the path is that it is not one after the other. It is, in theory, both would be happening simultaneously, but you personally have to choose which one you are going to be a part of. And I heard on a video also yesterday kind of like the same thing, kind of like, you know, choosing one or the other, or which one you want to be about. And she put it in a really beautiful way. This spiritual teacher said, do you want to be a part of the destruction, or do you want to be a part of the creation? Because they are both going to be happening simultaneously, and it is up to us where we are going to put our energy. Are we going to put our energy into the breakdown, or are we going to put our energy into the creation? And I really, 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 really loved that idea, or not that idea, but that notion, because I think that every single one of us is going to be able to choose. And going into our timing, the last thing I want to talk about timing is that since time doesn't exist, things can take a lot what we would consider longer. You know, when we first started going into this apocalyptic time, I kind of felt like, oh, maybe, 6 months or a year, let's break it down, let's build it up, let's go. And, we're ushering in the age of Aquarius. Oh, we're fully in the age of Aquarius, this age of information, this age of disclosure. Well, let's disclose it, let's go. And that was very much my human self being impatient, or my human self wanting to put a timeline on things. Well, I want to know how long this is going to last. I want to know how long things are going to be chaotic. And the thing is that is becoming obsessed with the future. We need not worry about how long this is going to last or when this is going to end. We only need worry about the present moment, and we only need to really worry about ourselves. Yes, this is a time of community. Yes, this is a time of coming together. However, we can only truly come together in love when we are coming together within ourselves, when we are doing that inner work. And I feel as though that is a lot of the lesson that a lot of people are learning right now, that it's most important to stay in your lane and to worry about yourself. Not in a selfish, forget about everyone else way, but in a connecting way. You will find that if you go and you're doing the inner work and you are going within, that you will be more connected to everyone else than any other time in your life. More connected than when, that time you were doing charity or that time you were helping people. Yes, those things are important. Our actions are important right now. However, our internal actions on our internal environment is what is creating our external environment. And our external environment affects the entire collective. So we need not negate how important our entire internal environment is during this time. It is our internal environment that creates our external environment, and we need to choose what we want to be creating at this time. And this is the fork in the road. This is the decision we have to make. There are other decisions that we have to make as well, but remember that everything is God. And being too dogmatic on either side, taking that stand, you can take that stand as long as you don't do it in division, as long as you do it in unison, for unison, not to prove other people wrong, not to tell them that what they're doing is wrong and that you believe that what they're doing is wrong. Everyone is doing the best they can for what they have to work with, whether they're aware of it or not. And sometimes the choices that people are making truly are the best that they can do at that moment with what they're working with out of their mind. If people don't know that they're functioning out of their mind, they have no choice but to function out of their mind until something kind of snaps them out of it and tells them, and life decides that they are ready to be educated, because we have to be ready. The things that you're wanting and the things that you want to create and the things that you feel like should be happening sooner than later, you have to be ready to receive them. And the divine knows if you are truly ready or not. You can't just be like, well, I am ready. Are you ready? Are you prepared in your heart? I don't know the exact quote, but I know that Jesus did talk about preparing yourself for him. What does that mean to you? What does that mean for you? Only the purest of heart. How can you be pure in heart? Only the purest of heart. They're saying, only the awakened will survive. And I don't know. Maybe there is going to be a mass exodus on the planet. Who knows? Anything is possible. But I just want to remind us that, everything is in divine timing. Therefore, everything is in perfect timing. And we need not get too wrapped up in the timing. We need to get most wrapped up in this beautiful, everlasting present moment. And then we can just let the timing unfold as it may. Let it be as it will. We need to not create that resistance. Let's just be in love. Let's start this week. This is a Monday, but let's start this week in love with the moment. Let's try and be in love with as much of the moments as we possibly can. And that is our message for today. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Anne, and I hope to see you next time.